I've got to be honest with you guys. I know that the internet wrestling community and all the marks are going crazy, and it's the talk of the entire business right now, but I'm not impressed with CM Punk's return to the WWE. In my honest opinion, even disregarding the AEW run that tarnished the reputations of everyone involved, especially Punk, this is 4 or 5 years too late. In 2018, CM Punk should have been in a pro wrestling ring, not in an octagon fighting for the UFC. There was significant damage done to his image then, but, pro wrestling fans are much more forgiving than fighting fans who saw Punk for what it was. He was a carny draw with very little natural fighting talent and no business in the UFC, just living out a personal fever dream of his and making more money than much more experienced fighters doing so. They're so forgiving, in fact, wrestling fans, that CM Punk's return to the sport had even long-lapsed fans of the business tuning into AEW to see his return. And like we see today with his appearance at War Games last night, everyone online was talking for weeks, and I do mean everyone. This is how much pull, this is how much draw CM Punk still has to this day. But you see, I'm no fan of Tony Khan, so don't watch this thinking that I'm some AEW mark that's butthurt over the whole deal. I think Tony Khan is possibly the absolute biggest reason the business is in the disarray that it's currently in. He doesn't understand what pro wrestling truly is. He has what feels like an endless roster, belts, and shows until they're all meaningless. Doesn't value a story or psychology in the slightest, and is one of the absolute weirdest dudes I have ever seen. He books for himself and his own wet dreams, and he has zero leadership skills. That's just my observation, though. Even so, CM Punk had an opportunity in 2021 to work with him and possibly revive the pro wrestling business, but what ensued was on screen and backstage gaffe after gaffe that did nothing more but further bury the business and make everyone involved in it these days look like children. Children. And that's after disappearing from the business completely for 7 years. There were long stretches where he wasn't trying to role play as a cage fighter, that he wasn't even active on social media. He just went dark. And in those 7 years, wrestling continued to fade from the public eye even further as possibly its bigger star decided he would rather live under a rock than get into a wrestling ring. I know. He doesn't really owe the business anything. And maybe the heat between himself and the McMahon family was really that hot, and the bridge to WWE legit burned. Hell, maybe there's even more sinister things that happened between him and the company during his run that we aren't aware of, and it was a matter of pride for him. If the sale to TKO happened, or not happened rather, if it hadn't happened, who knows? This may not be our reality right now as wrestling fans. But a CM Punk return in 17 or 18 could have meant the business in much better shape today. He had the star power to go to Impact and do for that company what Kurt Angle did, or better even. Or what about a return to the then Sinclair-owned Ring of Honor? He could have catapulted their image and their ratings instantly. But CM Punk chose himself. It doesn't mean I have to like it as a fan, but I can respect it. What I can't respect is the damage he has done to wrestling in the past 2 years by choosing to be unprofessional. So, I guess the magic is just gone for me as far as CM Punk goes. And my interest in Seth Rollins and whatever may take place between those two is extremely minimal. Although I will keep an eye on it, of course. And hey, maybe CM Punk and the WWE surprise me here. This may be the beginning of one of the hottest feuds in many years. Heck, we may not even hear of any backstage altercations. Triple H may never have to fear for his life like Tony Khan did. And maybe this can be the spark that wrestling needs to be interesting again, and bring in some of those millions of lost fans. I would sure love to see it.